What would you do in a zombie apocalypse where a single bite could turn you into an ugly, face-hive-looking, pukey mess? Are you strong enough to kill your friend or put them out of their misery if they were bitten? What list of rules would you follow to keep yourself prepared for zombie attacks? That's exactly what our ragtag group here must face. 10 years have passed since they made the first movie and decided to do this sequel, but we're here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to survive the bigger, badder, and the new and improved zombies in Zombieland Double Tap. The world is living in a zombie apocalypse called Zombieland, and has been for over a decade. This movie is a sequel to the first Zombieland, but in case you missed it, our main character Columbus immediately gives us a quick rundown of the important zombie stuff anyways. First off, there's a few different types of zombies now. There's homers, who are basically the dumbest zombies there are. Stereotypical, no brains, idiots that are slow moving and so stupid that they're even entertaining. As long as you know how to somewhat wield a weapon, which if you've survived this long, you already probably know how to do, homers pose no major threats. On the opposite end, there's Hawkings, as in Stephen Hawking. These guys have some intelligence to them, which is demonstrated by this Hawking getting locked out of a science lab of sorts and bypassing the eyeball identification lock by literally biting out the eyeball of another dead scientist and using that. Ugh! Lastly, there's ninjas, silent but deadly and pop out of nowhere. Gotta look out or listen out for those ones. Getting into the story, our four main characters are Columbus, Tallahassee, Wichita, and Little Rock. Wichita and Little Rock are sisters, Columbus and Tallahassee are buds, and Columbus and Wichita are dating. Now you're caught up. It's also explained in the first movie that people usually use their city of origins as nicknames when meeting other survivors to protect themselves and not get too attached. But obviously these four went through the whole hardened, outcast survivors found family trope and have stuck together, which now brought us here to this fun movie. Anyways, our gang has been looking for a permanent place to settle down and live, and going off the idea of go big or go home, they figured, hey, why not go the biggest? They choose the motherfreaking White House. They all blow through the zombie group with ease while also having a blast and rightfully claim their new home. So let's get into it. Honestly, yeah, I agree that one of the best things that you can do in a zombie-filled world is to establish a home base. Some sort of like safe location where you can hang out. And the White House is actually a pretty epic choice. I mean, the White House has 55,000 square feet of floor space, not even including the west or east wings, which, yeah, that's a pretty good deal for a family of four. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a mansion? I'm honestly surprised that no one else in the world hasn't already thought of it and claimed it yet, because first come, first served in this dog-eat-dog world, and it's been a good decade, but maybe no one is as badass as our team here. Cool factor aside, the White House has really great security installed from, protecting the presidents. It looks like the big 13-foot fence isn't outside anymore, or if it is, it did a pretty job at keeping out all those zombies, but the actual structure of the building looks intact. Plus, all 147 windows in the White House are made of extra thick bulletproof glass, which would give them an extra form of protection once inside. The only better place I could think of would be a Costco because of the concrete walls, but it's not nearly as fun or as homey. The White House also has the Presidential Emergency Operations Center, which is basically a bunker underneath the East Wing. It was constructed during Franklin D. Roosevelt's presidency after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and serves as a communications center in the case of an emergency. But our gang could use it as an extra safe house hideout if they ever needed to. And what's better than a secret bunker than secret tunnels? The White House has 761-foot zigzagging tunnels underneath that connect the White House to the Treasury building, designed to evacuate the president in an emergency. This would be a great escape route if a zombie ever got in and they needed a discreet exit. So yeah, I know the White House was probably a fun choice rather than a practical one, but it's actually a super great idea because it has so many built-in security features that our team could really utilize for Zombieland survival here. Columbus has a list of rules that he's come up with for surviving in this zombie-filled world, and number 32 is enjoy the little things, which is what they spend a lot of time doing during their early days at the White House. They decorate, celebrate birthdays, and make it their own little home for their own little family. Wichita and Columbus have fallen into their own sort of domestic routine, sleeping together as a couple and arguing about silly little things like how Columbus has to cover the eyes of Abraham Lincoln's painting in their now claimed bedroom, or Columbus will be forced to sleep on the couch. Personally, yeah, I'm on Wichita's side. I don't need Mr. President Lincoln staring at me as I sleep, so Columbus does. Happy girlfriend, happy life, right? Meanwhile, Tallahassee works in the garage on his car, the Beast, the love of his life. Happy to be single and just to dedicate his time to his car by adding cool weapons and stuff to it. Little Rock, on the other hand, has been feeling lonely and expresses her desire to find a boyfriend and have a family. Tallahassee argues that they are a family, since he himself has sort of taken on that father figure role for her, but Little Rock wants to leave the nest and start her own life, despite Tallahassee's hesitance to let her go. They all celebrate Christmas together on November 17th because why not, where Little Rock, now the constantly moody teenager of the family, gets annoyed at Tallahassee for calling her a little girl. Like, come on, man, she's not little anymore. Wichita gifts Columbus a first edition copy of the Fellowship of the Ring, which she wrote in, which he loves. Tallahassee gifts Little Rock a locked and loaded Colt 45 that once belonged to the king himself, Elvis Aaron Presley. He explains how Elvis gave the gun to Nixon when he visited the White House, but Little Rock isn't impressed and excuses herself to go shoot the gun alone outside, rejecting Tallahassee when he offers to go with. Columbus and Wichita are sympathetic though, understanding that it would suck to be stuck in the nest in search of people your own age who are definitely out there in the world, but their family just purposely chooses to keep their distance out of safety. Wichita worries about her sister, saying that Little Rock reminds her of herself when she was younger. Columbus, for who knows whatever reason, decides that now would be a good time to awkwardly propose with the Hope Diamond. Wichita is shocked and confused and immediately against the idea, saying that in her experience, married people only get divorced. Needless to say, she's not into it, and Columbus doesn't want her to say no, so he gives her the option to think about it instead. The next morning, Columbus comes downstairs to hear from Tallahassee that the girls totally split. They stole the Beast, wrote a note, and left the ring behind. The note said, "Dear C&T, we feel like total about leaving. Sorry, not good at notes. From W and LR." Yeah, that's a pretty bad note, but at least they left a little XOX and a heart at the bottom, right? As they drive away, Little Rock comments that Tallahassee's gonna be mad about stealing his precious car, the Beast, but Wichita says that he shouldn't have gotten so attached. Wichita explains about how Columbus got too attached, while Little Rock complains that Tallahassee acting as if he was her dad was unbearable. They come across some hitchhiker and almost accidentally run him over, and yeah, he's hot, so he can join. Little Rock is immediately smitten. Uh-oh, family drama? In the Found Family movie? Yeah, I could see this coming. Establishing a safe and stable life is all good and all, but for the sake of mental health, it's also important for people to have other going on in their lives. Studies have shown that there's a correlation between unemployment and depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues because we as human beings need a sense of purpose. We want things to do, places to go, goals. I mean, our gang has spent the past 10 years traveling, fighting, seeing new things, so of course, settling down all of a sudden might feel pretty boring and stale. I mean, as large as the White House is, I'm sure they explored it all and the wow factor got pretty boring pretty quickly. Being homebodies stuck inside sucks. Like, sure, they're safe from zombies, but now they're totally socially isolated, so I don't blame Little Rock for wanting an out. Plus, she's going through puberty. It's totally reasonable for her to want a boyfriend and to hang out with other people other than her family. I mean, that sounds brutal, and I'm surprised that she even lasted this long. Now, in terms of how they could have treated this situation better, be more supportive parents. Sure, Wichita is her sister, not her mom, and Tallahassee isn't her dad, but they could have made some better parenting decisions as to how they treated her. Like, guys, your daughter is coming to you and expressing feelings of loneliness and desiring friends. maybe make an effort to get her friends, or at least hear her out and talk it through. Don't just invalidate her feelings and totally drive her away. Nothing is worse than feeling alone in your own family. A support system like, hey Little Rock, we totally hear you and support you, and yeah, maybe we can make an effort to do some more safe travel days together and try to meet more people, could have made her less inclined to just run away. And Columbus, as for you, dude, what an awful time to propose. Wichita is clearly worried about her sister, and you're making this all about yourself? The world doesn't revolve around you, bud. I know you're the main character, but chill, dude. Things have been going well, your girlfriend has been happy. Read the room. You've known this woman for over a decade now, and she's expressed no interest in marriage, which, how would that even work in a world like this? Are you going to go find a church and find a pastor? It's not like the internet works and you can log on to onehourmarriage.com, so it's really more of a symbolic thing than anything. But yeah, both our boys have made some sort of decisions that drove the girls away. Oops. It's been over a month now, and Columbus and Tallahassee are exploring a mall. Columbus talks about Wichita leaving, still taking the breakup pretty badly, but Tallahassee says he needs to get over it already, and also get over the idea of settling down and building a home, because the world just isn't meant for that type of stuff anymore. In fact, Tallahassee considers going off on his own again, lone wolf style, and invites Columbus to tag along. They come across a zombie, and Tallahassee immediately shoots it while also doing a trick shot, and of course goes up to it again and shoots it in the head to finish it off. That's Columbus's main zombie survival rule number 2, double tap, which means shooting the zombie again in the head to make sure that it's really dead. Columbus finds a candle shop in the mall, one of his simple pleasures since Zombieland smells so damn bad, and comes across Madison, a sweet young but dumb blonde who has been living alone in the freezer in the Pinkberry store for years, which is cold enough to keep all the zombies out. Tallahassee immediately joins them and calls Madison an idiot to her face, which, super rude. What did this sweet bubbly delight of a human ever do to you, old man? And Madison stands up for herself, saying that she's good at surviving and stays in shape. This leads her and Columbus to bond even more, because Columbus's number 1 rule for surviving Zombieland is doing cardio. Columbus invites Madison to join them in the White House against Tallahassee's wishes, and he happily soaks up the attention of his new sweet girl by telling her all of his zombie rules. And yeah, we can judge him, but in his defense, Wichita broke his heart, and this poor guy is, in his words, just excited to talk to somebody who smells like candle instead of whiskey and gunpowder. And Madison is cute. Back in the White House, Tallahassee pulls Columbus aside and says the only reason she's survived this long is because zombies eat brains and she doesn't have one. Again, brutal. And tells him that he's leaving the White House when the sun rises. Columbus ignores this and goes to give Madison a tour of the White House, taking her to the Lincoln bedroom, and they start to hook up. Columbus is hesitant at first, still feeling guilty about his Wichita breakup, but Madison pretty quickly convinces him and the two have sex, while a painting of Abraham Lincoln watches on. Downstairs, Tallahassee hears thumps and bumps nearby and grabs his gun to investigate, and almost shoots Columbus in the process, who also came down to investigate the noises. They enter the garage to find Wichita, who came back to grab more weapons, saying that Little Rock ran away with the guy they picked up from the road, Berkeley. Tallahassee is appalled to hear that Little Rock is dating some hippie musician of all things, and he's even more horrified to hear that Berkeley is a pacifist who has survived by conflict avoidance, rather than being a real strong man and fighting. Little Rock wanted to go to Graceland with Berkeley, the mansion that Elvis Presley once lived in, but when Wichita told her no, the two just stole the beast and left without her. So, understandably worried about her sister's safety, Wichita came back to grab more weapons. She explains that there's also apparently a new version of zombie out there that's stronger, faster, deadlier, and better adapted to the hunt. Tallahassee blames the whole situation on Columbus for putting Wichita away to begin with, but Wichita points out that Tallahassee is also to blame for being such an overbearing father figure, much to his surprise. Nevertheless, the boys both offer to help rescue Little Rock, and T states that once Little Rock is safe, he's finally going to go his own way so he can be a free lone wolf again. Left alone, Wichita apologizes to Columbus for the shitty note she left and the way she left, and admits to overreacting to the whole proposal situation that she totally could have handled better. Columbus and Wichita are about to make up when Madison comes down the stairs, wondering when Columbus is coming to join her back in bed. Wichita is totally offended and leaves. So much for making up. Now, I don't know what these boys are doing, but once they established the White House as home base, they should have put in some sort of alarm system at all the doors to prevent break-ins like this. What if this was some rando instead of Wichita who just made it into their house? I mean, they have the resources here. The house is full of stuff, so a little more proactivity and a little more security would have been smart, especially where they store all their weapons. Guns and weapons are precious in this world, so why are they all in easy access places for your ex to come steal? The White House has made them soft and stupid because these boys have been surviving in this world for a long time and didn't even know how to lock the doors or hide their weapons. And with the Madison drama, oh my god, come on man, if Columbus was just a little more honest with Wichita and also with himself, and if they just communicated like adults, Wichita wouldn't be so passive-aggressive about the whole situation. But also, girl, you're the one who left. Columbus has all the right in the world to have a rebound hookup, and you really have no reason to be mean to Madison because she didn't know about any of this relationship drama to begin with. And Madison is just caught in the crossfire. Of course, this all also could have been avoided if Columbus just told Madison to stay put. She's a nice girl and she likes him and she listens. I mean, she came downstairs wondering where Columbus went, so that means he totally just didn't tell her anything. Not even a, stay here, I'm gonna check out what sound that was and I don't want you in danger. Columbus, my guy, you need to communicate with these women who, no offense, but let's be real, you are so lucky to have to begin with. Either way, it's the zombie apocalypse, and I know not everyone gets along, but quit it with the animosity. Boy drama seems so trivial in the grand scheme of the world right now, but also, boy drama and wanting a boyfriend is why Little Rock left to begin with, so maybe it's unavoidable. Amen. Ruining everything. Forever. Wichita grabs her bags and weapons and heads outside to the car, and Tallahassee wonders where the the beast is, saying that driving this weird-ass minivan is not manly. But hey, beggars can't be choosers in this world where working cars with working parts are already so rare. Madison stumbles out with her own bags to join them, much to T and Wichita's disapproval, but Columbus convinces them to let her join since she has nowhere else to go, not without T leaving her bags behind. Madison tries to bond with Wichita about girl things, so happy and thrilled to finally be around another woman, and she shows off the Hope diamond ring she found in the bedroom drawer. Wichita and Columbus share some awkward looks about the ring and their failed proposal, and tensions are all high. This sweet pink girl has done nothing wrong. It's not her fault she got pulled between this couple's relationship drama. T slams on the brakes and Madison goes flying, but just laughs it off like a good sport, taking the blame herself and forgetting rule number 4 to always wear a seatbelt. This, of course, just amps up Wichita's passive aggressiveness, clearly jealous that Madison was told all 73 of Columbus's rules. They stop on the side of the freeway as T points out a new car that they could use instead of this dumb minivan. No, not the ice cream truck, the RV. Madison asks to see and uses binoculars backwards because the movie didn't already have enough dumb blonde jokes, I guess. Heading down to retrieve the RV, Columbus promises Wichita that he and Madison aren't actually a real thing together, but that it was just a desperate little fling. Wichita points out that they also only got together due to the lack of other options, which offends Columbus, who thought that they were more than that. They reach the RV together, but as soon as Madison opens the door, the car alarm goes off, alerting all the nearby zombies. Here we go. Of course, our gang is used to this, and they immediately spring into action. Tallahassee gives Columbus a boost to the top of the RV where he can play lookout and command which zombies to shoot, and T and Wichita shoot them up from below. They're coming from all directions as the gang shoots them up with ease. Tallahassee tells Madison to just stand there and stay out of the way, thinking she'd be totally useless, and she's a little confused by the shouting random numbers. Wichita runs out of ammo and is about to get attacked by a zombie as she's reloading, but Madison pops out and maces him in the face, buying Wichita just enough time. They manage to kill most of the zombies, but a Hawking makes it to the top of the RV, and Columbus barely dodges it. Then a ninja crawls out from under the RV and grabs Madison's leg and bites her foot before Columbus shoots it, saving her. With one zombie left, Tallahassee shoots it in the face multiple times, but it's totally unfazed. What the f***? Turns out the new and improved mutated zombies Wichita heard about are true, and double tapping them simply isn't enough to kill them. Columbus names this new breed of zombie T-800s, naming them after the Terminator itself. Tallahassee shoots it in the head again and again, but it only finally dies when he fully stomps down on its head, splatter style. Not good news for Little Rock, who is out there alone with nothing but a hippie and a guitar. Meanwhile, Little Rock tells Berkeley that she's always wanted to smoke weed, and Berkeley pulls out a huge f***ing bag. She smokes, and he plays her songs that he wrote. The gang take off in the RV and immediately get a flat tire, and there's no way that they're taking the f***ing clown car, so they sadly make their way back to the minivan. So all that zombie fighting was for nothing, but hey, at least Wichita and Madison had a sweet little near-death bonding moment, sort of. In the minivan, Wichita and Madison share snacks, but suddenly Madison starts getting overheated and rashes on her face, followed by her tongue feeling fuzzy as she begins to feel sick and nauseous. They pull over and Madison hops out, vomiting, clearly showing signs of zombification. She was bitten by that ninja earlier, remember, even if it was over her shoe. The gang discusses who should put her out of her misery, aka shoot her, and Columbus hesitantly agrees. Madison keeps vomiting and freaking out, and yeah, her face is starting to look f***ed, and Columbus shoots her off screen and returns to the minivan where Wichita and T apologize for his loss. May she rest in peace. Our first actual death of the movie. Our gang has done pretty f***ing well so far at surviving, but I guess it's only a matter of time. Our team is clearly experienced and has an order of operations for these sort of things, but they could have clued Madison into it so she wasn't just floundering. Also, there was no reason for Madison to be on the ground. She's clearly the weakest link in the group, so Tallahassee should have boosted her up on top of the RV to join Columbus. So at least she would have been safe up top and also out of the way. The reason she got bit is because she didn't know any better, didn't know where to go, and was in a vulnerable position that no one helped her out of. But also, let's talk zombie bites for just a second. If being bit on your skin is what turns you into a zombie, why are these people not making more effort to cover their skin? They're all wearing flimsy, wimpy clothes and wimpy fabrics, but they should really be decked out in head-to-toe skin coverings and like multiple layers of flak jackets to avoid any zombie contact. You guys were at the mall earlier. You could have done a little more shopping for stuff other than like candles. Sure, more clothes might be a bit hotter to walk around in, but I'd rather be a little sweaty than a little dead. In fact, most people are just wearing normal clothes throughout this whole movie, which is crazy. These people need to start dressing like prudes and wear better boots and thicker pants. Mad Max made it sexy, so can you. It's also worth noting that at any point they literally could have just gotten inside the RV and driven away, or at least used the RV to run the zombies over. These zombies are not fast moving. A car would outspeed them so easily. So why waste this many bullets and ammo when they're already clearly at the vehicle they were trying to get to? Just get in and drive away. So yeah, through better planning, better clothing, preparation, or even just by choosing not to fight, Madison being bit was totally avoidable. But at least they made the right decision and took her out of her misery before she could fully transform. She was looking pretty gnarly there for a second. They make it to Graceland, but it's totally abandoned and there's no sign of the Beast or Little Rock anywhere. Tallahassee is devastated, but as they keep driving down the road, they come across some neon bright lights at a hotel, and coincidentally come across the Beast. Great minds think alike, apparently. They enter the hotel, which actually looks a lot like Graceland, which has Elvis's real shoes on display and everything. They don't fit on Tallahassee's feet, but they fit on Columbus's like a fucking glove, Cinderella style, and T totally isn't jealous at all. This guy cannot catch a break. He wanders into a room where he finds one of Elvis's outfits on display and starts playing the piano, only to be ambushed by a woman, Nevada, who has been living here. Wichita and Columbus join, guns out in defense, and they all learn that Little Rock and Berkeley already left a few days ago and left the Beast because it was too establishment. Nevada tells them that they should be more careful sneaking into places because she came this close to murraying them, which means accidentally shooting a live human person because you think they're a zombie. This happened to celebrity Bill Murray in the first Zombieland movie when Columbus accidentally shot him and killed him, which Nevada doesn't know, but we know your secrets, Columbus. He just plays dumb, and Nevada buys it as awkwardness and threatens to kill Bill Murray's killer if she ever finds out who it is. But anyways, Nevada tells the gang that Berkeley and Little Rock are heading to Babylon, some pacifist Gen Z hippie commune, no guns and no violence, that's protected and enclosed from all sides. Little Rock and Berkeley arrive in Babylon and are only granted entry when they discard their guns by fully melting them, because of like symbolism or something, but it seems like a cute little commune that's walled off from all sides and supposedly safe from zombies. That night, Nevada and Tallahassee drink together and bond together over their love of Elvis. Tallahassee does an Elvis impression in front of her while telling a story, which she's totally into. And you know what? I don't blame her. Tallahassee is charming as fuck. Tallahassee wakes Nevada up the next morning wearing full Elvis gear for a potentially spicy morning, but they're interrupted by someone downstairs driving up in a big, tall monster truck and running over the beast. Albuquerque hops out and complains that Tallahassee is parked in his spot and is also sleeping with his woman, as he and Nevada have some sort of history, but Nevada makes it clear that she's nobody's woman. As Albuquerque and Tallahassee argue, Columbus and Wichita joke about their resemblance in personality and looks, but joke's on them because his trusty awkward sidekick Flagstaff also pops out, which seems to be a store brand Columbus. Curly hair, nerdy voice, and all. Flagstaff even comes with his own set of rules. He calls them commandments, and the two of them compare their lists and competitively riff off each other and their mutual love of being prepared in Zombieland. Albuquerque says that they came back to Graceland because the new zombies, the T-800s, are getting together, but they call them bolts, as in Usain Bolt, because of the running and hunting. But I think T-800 is a cooler name because, I mean, come on, Terminator? Yeah. Everyone continues to size each other up inside when they notice a pack of zombies crawling over their cars, all of them T-800s. Wanting to prove their authority and dominance, Albuquerque and Flagstaff head outside to shoot them all up, supposedly easily, and come back inside proud of themselves and patting themselves on the back for a job well done. That is, however, until they realize Albuquerque was bitten on the wrist in the process. He starts transforming, and Flagstaff also starts showing signs of infection because he was bit as well. A zombified Flagstaff and Albuquerque start attacking their fellow personality counterparts, which, yeah, it was weird having two of them, so one of them probably has to go. They aggressively wrestle back and forth through the rooms, where Nevada and Wichita are little help because they're afraid of accidentally shooting Columbus and Tallahassee in such close proximity. Tallahassee finally gets the upper hand and kills Albuquerque by bashing his head in with an Elvis statue and then a guitar. And Nevada finally shoots Flagstaff in the head while Columbus was pinned, and that was a fucking close one, y'all. Tallahassee asks if he can count that one as zombie kill of the year, but unfortunately, no, because Matteo in Italy pulled out the genius move of literally toppling the Tower of Pisa over a group of zombies. What the hell? Also, where is Columbus getting this knowledge? It's never explained, but whatever. Now, this is just a pure case of male egos at work. The T-800s outside were totally just minding their own business. Like, yeah, they were climbing over the cars and stuff, but it's not like they were hurting anyone or breaking anything or threatening anything. They could have just left the zombies alone and stayed safe inside, but no, these big boys had to assert their dominance and show off to the cool lady. So they went out to shoot and fight the zombies for fun. That's a stupid move, and honestly, maybe y'all deserve to die from the cockiness alone. This is just like the RV park, where fighting the zombies wasn't even necessary, but they chose to do it. It was totally safe inside, and this also wasn't super time sensitive, so they could have left the zombies to go away on their own, or they could have been smarter about it and shot the zombies from afar. And once these two revealed that they were bit, I don't care what history you have with them, you gotta shoot them in the face, and fast. Did we learn nothing from Madison? At least Madison Madison was shot before she was able to attack Columbus. But these two have gone way too far, and the gang wastes way too much time to act before they're being attacked. The fight is pretty chaotic and inefficient, and is really just the four men wrestling hand-to-hand combat style and falling all over the furniture while trying not to get bit. Where are the weapons? Wrestling is extra dangerous because it's such close contact. See, here's another example of where having more clothes and more layers of protection to avoid being bit would have been useful. In this case, nonetheless, I would have really focused on trying to get the zombies' mouths away from me, because that's their main target of attack. It's easier said than done, of course, but they should have immediately gagged them when they saw the early signs of transformation, and restrained them. This team spent an awfully long time talking about it before doing anything, and that just led to messy, unprepared, rolling around and flailing all over, which could have been ended and shot down before it began. And once in the fight, it took far too long for people to use external weapons in their surroundings to help themselves. Your own hands are only so strong, but I'd be using anything that I could grab around me to either use as a weapon or shove into their mouths, which Columbus actually does finally do here when he shoves a pool ball in Flagstaff's mouth, but we gotta be quicker than that. Tallahassee says goodbye to Nevada, who doesn't want to join them, but she invites Tallahassee to come back to visit her anytime. Tallahassee tries to drive the monster truck, epically fails, and once again rejectedly heads back to their good old trusted minivan. Back on the road, Wichita and Columbus start to rekindle their relationship, but then randomly come across Madison driving an ice cream truck, alive and well. Madison joins them in the car again and explains that her nut allergy is what caused the zombie-like physical reaction. Remember when they were eating trail mix together? Girl, how do you have that serious of a food allergy and not check what you're eating? Either way, she thanks Columbus for shooting over her head and sparing her life, much to Wichita and Tallahassee's surprise. They take turns driving, and Columbus starts feeling resentment and annoyance that Madison has joined them again when things between him and Wichita were going so well again, which, dude, that's not her fault. They finally make it to Babylon, where they hope to find Little Rock and also possibly settle down as a new home, and Tallahassee finally blows up his enemy of the minivan for fun. Good for him. Tallahassee is upset to give up his gun to be granted entry, but does so because he wants to see Little Rock, the big softy. They find her, reunite, and introduce each other to Berkeley and Madison. Seeing Little Rock safe and around new friends her own age, Tallahassee realizes that his nest is now empty and decides to let her go. He tells the gang that his time has come to finally split and go his own way, and they say their goodbyes. As he drives away, he accidentally drives over a zombie, which is a T-800, and then he sees a whole swarm of them heading right for Babylon. God damn it! He swings around in his truck and immediately heads back to defend his friends and family. He runs back in a panic, explaining that all the fireworks Babylon has been putting off might as well be a dinner bell or a big red X marks the spot for zombie food. Knowing that everyone here is totally weaponless and there are no guns to be found, they all try to come up with a plan. Berkeley is totally unhelpful, and Little Rock calls him a poser and breaks up with him on the spot. T takes charge and puts together a master plan, which is to lure the group of zombies all into one spot and use biodiesel to blow them up. For the rest of the zombies that the explosion doesn't immediately kill, Tallahassee will use himself as bait to lure them to the top of the skyscraper, and the commune will use barricade shields to funnel them all to fall to their deaths. Okay, now I'm not saying that this is a bad plan, and I give kudos to Tallahassee for thinking of it so quickly on the spot, but there's definitely better ways to go about it. Instead of luring the zombies into one particular spot, they should secure the perimeters of the whole area so they can't get in to begin with. The walls are already pretty high, so it doesn't make sense to break down the walls to invite the zombies in when you could keep them out and fight them from a distance. In instances like this, quantity is really better than quality, and they have enough biodiesel fuel to cover the whole outer walls of Babylon. So why not make some fiery gate that they can't get through? I mean, sure, maybe it's not enough to hold them off forever, but it would be a lot more effective and a lot larger threat to the zombies to explode them in multiple places and attack from all angles. Now, in addition to the biodiesel, there's tons of other makeshift weapons that they could find and prepare. They could make spears out of scrap metal. They could get heavy objects as throwing weapons. They have fireworks to shoot at them and explode more zombies. They could even use that lava-type stuff that they used to melt the weapons. I bet that would melt a zombie's face right off. And honestly, let's just say that I never understood not having weapons in the middle of the zombie apocalypse to begin with. Like, Babylon isn't a peaceful lifestyle, you people are just living in denial. There are no weapons in Babylon because everything is safe? Yeah, just like there is no war in Bang Sing Se. Nice try. All you're doing to the commune is wildly underpreparing in the case of attack. What were these people's game plans here if our gang didn't rock up to protect them? Die, I guess. It's giving anti-vaxxers. They get to work and start setting up the explosion trap, setting off a bright firework sparkler spinner to lure the zombies over, and it actually works. They pile up together and all light them up on fire, Fall Out Boy style. Except there are way more zombies than they thought there were, and a huge swarm come charging in immediately after. So much for only having a few stray stragglers. The gang use shovels and makeshift weapons to hold them off as long as they can, by whacking and stabbing them in the face as much as they can, but they're wildly outnumbered and surrounded from all angles. Together, the four of them hopelessly accept their fate that they're going to die. Until, vroom vroom, here comes our awesome hero Nevada crashing over the wall in the monster truck. She immediately does donuts and runs over countless of these assholes, picks up the gang, and probably gives them the most nauseating and motion-sick car ride of their lives. But she's running over all of these guys with ease and accuracy like she's in Grand Theft Auto or something, so that's kinda epic. But then she crashes to the side and the truck flips over. Oops. The gang run out and try to make it back to safety as Berkeley and Madison drop from above onto the zombie heads. So, hey, they're not totally useless after all. The gang run up the stairs to the top of the tower where the commune is waiting in place, and Tallahassee uses himself as bait, being chased as he heroically jumps onto the carefully placed crane hook, and the zombies all fall below. Right when they think they're finally safe, two last zombies jump off the edge and grab onto Tallahassee's legs, pulling him down to his potential death. Everyone panics, unsure what to do. Tallahassee is losing his grip, the zombies are about to bite his legs when Little Rock comes to the rescue and shoots them dead with the Elvis gun that she was gifted before on fake Christmas. Long live the king. She says that she didn't want to use it earlier since she's been pretty high on weed this whole time. Finally safe, they all reach over and pull Tallahassee to safety. Now, we all agree that Nevada is the coolest person in the whole movie, right? Her monster truck driving single-handedly took out like half of these guys. If only they were selfish and used that opportunity to just drive away and save themselves, but I get it. They're good guys, and they have to save everyone in this ridiculous little commune. People are people, and they gotta look out for each other, right? Berkeley and Madison were helpful with throwing the stuff down, but holy shit, how is their aim so good? What if those heavy objects accidentally landed on one of our guys? That's some risky shit, and we're lucky no one important got hit. Now, Tallahassee's epic hook jump was awesome, but it totally could have been better planned. First off, it should have been farther out of reach from the zombies so they weren't able to grab his legs. Secondly, he should have had some sort of exit plan on how the team would pull him back afterwards, whether that's with a broom or a stick or literally anything. He was hanging here and then just sort of winging it and trying to swing back, which you don't want to do when you're hanging from this high up in the air. Lastly, they could have added a lot to the hook ahead of time to make it safer, by adding hand straps or a safety harness that he could throw around his middle like rock climbers do. They had time to prepare and set this up, so they should have taken the extra safety precaution to make sure that Tallahassee had more to secure himself with, so he wouldn't have to solely rely on the strength of his hands. No wonder Columbus's #1 rule is cardio, because if my entire life depended on hanging here or even doing a single pull-up, I'd be cooked. Wichita accepts Columbus's proposal officially, agreeing that they're meant to be together, Zombieland or not. Madison hands the Hope Diamond ring over to Wichita, supportively and with no hard feelings, because she's a girl's girl. Columbus kneels, slips it on Wichita's finger, and the two make up for good. Nevada and Tallahassee reunite as well, as all couples need to do at the end of a movie like this. And hey, even Madison and Berkeley end up together. Good for them. Little Rock never got that boyfriend she wanted, but she did get a little adventure and found a better appreciation for her real family. Nevada officially joins the gang as the 5 of them ride off together, heading nowhere in particular, as Columbus learns that home is not a place, but the people that you're with. In a mid-credit scene, in a flashback, Bill Murray is in the middle of promoting his next movie, Garfield 3, when the zombie apocalypse begins to start. He fends off a lot of them, action star style, making it out alive. Columbus, we will never forgive you for killing such a gem. Zombieland, double tap. And this is why we need more sequels to great comedies, because I feel like they all work out in the end. You guys have to let me know also what you would have done differently in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. We'll see you on Wednesday and Saturday of every week. I'm the guy. We'll see you in the next video, and have a damn good day.